Hi, I'm Phil Quinn. Welcome to the first episode of Access to the Arts. We're at the Richmond Civic Theater, the historic Murray Theater. Let's go check it out. Welcome to a brand new show here on WCTV. It's called Access to the Arts. It's going to be an opportunity for us to showcase the arts and culture in Richmond and Wayne County. There's a lot of it, and there's a lot of history of it, which brings us to the Murray Theater. We're here today to talk about the upcoming season with Richmond Civic Theater, and also a couple of shows and a couple of projects. But first, our guest in studio, or on stage, as it were, is Bob Myers. And Bob Myers is going to tell us a little bit about the history of the Murray Theater. Thanks for being on the program. You're the first guest on the first episode. That's high priority, Bob.
Well, that's a wonderful occasion for me. Well, let me just go back, reminisce a little bit in time. I was 11 years old when the theater was started in 1941. And I was fortunate enough then to be kind of an active kid in theater kind of stuff at school. And so I got to see one of the first shows during the first season. And after that, I followed it pretty much through my high school days. I didn't participate here because I had to work when I was a kid. So I missed out on a lot of it, but I had some friends that were very active in the theater then. And one of the girls' name was Ruth Ellen Fleming. And she was in a couple of shows here and was my classmate. And at our 50th high school class reunion, she came and we talked a little bit about it. And I brought some of the folks down here to the theater to reminisce. And so I've been following the theater all my life, practically, since I was 11 years old.
Well, here's the inappropriate question, Bob. So how old are you?
Well, I'm 87 years young.
And you're still participating in productions even today. Well,
I try very hard to do that. I don't do some of the things I love to do. I can't physically help build sets anymore. Mm-hmm. That's discouraging because that was as much fun as being on stage. I was fortunate enough to be in the Christmas show, but I got to sit just like I'm doing now with a microphone and a script right in front of me. I didn't have to memorize a line last year at Christmas time, first time in my life in a show. So I didn't make many mistakes.
Right, that's good. Well, that's important, isn't
right.
it? From when you were a child in the theater to what the theater looks like now, what's the same, what's different?
Oh, many things have changed here at the Richmond Civic Theater over the years. I can remember when the balcony, for example, had bleachers in the second section of it. And we were fortunate enough here in the last few years to have a gentleman who was very, very instrumental in helping us get all new seating and stuff. So the theater has changed drastically in the last 25 years in many ways. We had a gentleman who was on our board here for several years, and his mother passed away and gave him money, and he took that money and bought all new drapes and curtains for the stage. That was probably 1990, thereabouts. Okay. And we've only had to clean them and update them twice since then. We have had all new seats replaced in the theater. And we put seats in all the way to the back of the theater in the balcony area. We now have some railing, which we didn't have when I used to come and sit up there. Many things have changed, and all to the better. And all because we had people who were very interested in the theater in Richmond. We've always had good rapport with everybody wanting this theater to keep going.
What's one of the pieces of the theater with the structure maybe it's the people. What's the one thing that draws you in when you come into Murray Theater? For people that might be coming in the first time, what's one of the showcases that you like the best?
The first thing I see is the stage. And the stage is the theater. I mean, you can put people on the floor out there and they'll still watch and see what goes on the stage. So if we maintain the stage and keep it up to date and in good shape, we're always going to be okay.
Technology in theater has changed. How things are done backstage from 1941 to today. You've gotten to see some of those technological updates. Mm-hmm. Is it high tech these days?
Well, some of it's pretty high tech, yeah. I mean, they do a lot of button pushing now, where before we had to have somebody on the sidelines to raise and lower the curtains. And now it's pretty simple. We have a guy that just pushes a button and the curtains rise, or we turn a key on and the light system drops down and they can change the lights across the stage. Back then they had to climb ladders and stand straddle-legged over a 12-foot ladder to make a change in lights, and pretty dangerous. We never lost anybody. But one interesting article in a show, maybe 20 years ago, a fellow named Simon Klopper was building a set up here on the stage, and it looked similar to what's in back of me now, and he was walking across it, and I was working down front, and all of a sudden he said, "Bob," and I looked up and I said, "Well, where are you, Simon?" He'd walked right off the back of it and was laying on the back of the stage. And I went back and said, "Okay, Simon, I think we better change that walkway a little bit."
Yeah, well, yes, absolutely. Bob Myers, thank you for sharing some of the history of the Murray Theater. We've always talked about it being a community treasure, and so are you. And sharing your history with us is a really important thing. Thanks for being on the program.
Thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Welcome back to Access for the Arts. My guest is Becky Jewison. She's here to talk about the season Play Your Part, which is the upcoming season at Richmond Civic Theater. And Becky, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
The season starts with a bang.
Yes.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof it's been a big one for a long time. It's a very popular show, and we're very excited about it. It's a wonderful big cast, which is always great. And the play reading group, when we picked it, we're excited that it was just recently on Broadway, and felt like, that would be a great thing to do again. It's been, I can't tell you how many years since the last time we did the show.
Well, how important is it to start the season with a well-known show, a very popular show? How important is that to sort of get the ball rolling for the rest of the season?
I think it's really important because we try to do something that's either family-oriented or at least something that's very popular to get everybody back into the season and get started again. And it excites all of us. It excites the volunteers. It excites, hopefully, the community as something they'd all like to come see.
Let's talk about the rest of the season, because the lineup includes some shows that maybe aren't as well known to this community, and so it's always good to sort of educate us and move our theater experience forward. Tell us about the rest of the show.
The second show is Glass Menagerie, which Tennessee Williams, I should know when it was first written, but I don't think I can tell you that. But it's certainly a classic, a drama, an excellent piece of theater. And that's the exciting thing for us. Sometimes you go from the big, exciting, fun musical or family-oriented musical to a drama that's going to take you to a whole different place. Mm-hmm. And we always like to offer different things for different people. After that, one I'm very excited about, Peter and the Starcatcher, is the prequel to Peter Pan.
Oh, okay.
And it is full of pirates and all the fun things, the mermaids, everything you loved about Peter Pan. It has all of that with just a great twist to the story, and how Peter met Wendy and how they moved into the next story.
Okay. Tell us about a couple other shows that are up this season.
And then we have Tarzan, which not that I'm going to push, but I'm directing, so very excited about that. But another big family musical, brand new to RCT, as is Peter and the Starcatcher.
Great.
We have never done them before, and really excited that'll have a lot of, hopefully a big cast, a lot of all ages.
Right.
So that's always fun.
You know, I'm sure that there are probably some folks out there that think, boy, I just wish they would do Annie every year, or Oklahoma every year. But you need some things that are new to the theater, a lot for the cast, for the volunteers, the people. They want to keep the energy and juices going, and so bringing a couple of productions that are new is just another reason to enjoy the theater. Get that theater experience.
Yes, exactly, and you're right. I mean, it's fun for the new pieces for everybody.
Right.
You haven't seen it, well, try it. You know, it's hard because sometimes you think, should I go? I have no idea what, say, Peter and the Starcatcher, something like that is. Well, the answer is yes, because it's theater, and I really feel strongly how well we do theater here, and I'm very proud of it, and I think try it. Try the new, try the familiar, and we try to do a nice balance for everybody.
Becky Jewison, we're talking about the season memberships. Play Your Part is the season. And let me talk about those season memberships for a second. You can go to gorct.org, and there are a variety of different memberships. If you have a small family, if it's just you that want to get a season ticket. But the season memberships, getting that ticket and locking it in, is also important for the theater, so they have an idea on budgeting, right? An idea on how to make that work. So getting your season membership is important.
Is very important, and just really helps us get started. You know, it's an old theater, it's a big theater. We have, you know, lots of things we need to take care of, things we want to do to make it even more enjoyable for an audience, and the more we can get people to buy those season memberships to get us going, you know, the better off any arts organization is that gets to do that.
You can also call the box office at 962-1816, and they can tell you more about that information as well. Becky Jewison, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to Access to the Arts. We've moved backstage here at Richmond Civic Theater, and Ryan Shaw from Stage 1 Youth Theater is our guest. Thanks for being on the program.
Thanks for having me.
And the first show for the season for Stage 1 Youth Theater is called Holes. Tell us about that.
Yes, Holes. It's a children's young adult book. Okay. Aside from that, it was made into a movie, I think, in the early 2000s. Shia LaBeouf was in it. A pretty successful movie. A very successful young adult novel. It's on the Indiana State reading list, which is one of the reasons why we had picked it, because and aside from being entertaining, we always try to do something that can bring in schools that they can have an educational connection to. So Holes was just, it fit that bill. Well,
and there is a show for schools sort of before it's open to the public.
Yes. Fridays before the opening night for the public performances, we have 2 school day productions, and we have people from all over the Wayne County area, schools over in Randolph County, and it's growing. Every year we're going a little bit further and a little bit further. I think the furthest we've had is from Muncie.
Well, you talk about growing, and Stage 1 Youth Theater has been part of that theater program that has really grown in leaps and bounds in the past few years. How long has Stage 1 Youth Theater been around?
Stage 1 itself started in 2001 with Becky Jewison, and then she ran it for about 8 years. Then Chrissy Jackson took over for about 8 years, and now me.
Okay, and what's the importance for young kids to get involved in theater? What are some of the skills and lessons that they learn, and why should parents think about using that as an after-school activity for their kids?
Aside from a lot of the social aspects, learning, and we have a lot of homeschool kids that come, so that's a great way for if you don't have kids that are in public schools. It's a great way to come out, make connections, build some kind of relationships. Diversity is really nice here. We have kids from, like I said, all over different counties. Aside from that, there's also I can't remember what study this was from, but there are several studies that just prove the importance of kids being involved in the arts, how it increases test scores, social interaction, grades tend to go up, time management. So aside from the social benefits, there's a lot of things that carry over into school and that they can carry on, public speaking. The list could go on and on.
Well, and it's important because public speaking, I think public speaking is really crucial, especially in this day and age where you're sort of always on a pulpit. There's always either a camera or something there.
Exactly.
Learning how to project. Are there age requirements for Stage 1?
That kind of varies depending on production to production. Some productions, like Holes, we're asking for 5th grade and up to audition because the content is a little more difficult. but then we try to balance out our season with other productions, such as we have James the Giant Peach this year and Bridge to Terabithia.
Okay.
Those also they have older kids, but we have second grade tends to be kind of the good base level for starting out with stage one in a big production. But then of course we have our camps, which those are in June, and we start from kindergarten all the way up. So there's always a way to get involved every season.
Talk about those camps. The numbers, I mean, it's a camp that sells out, or fills up, I should say.
Yes, they fill up fairly quickly, actually. Usually in early spring, I'll start to let people know they're out there. This year, we had all of our camps were completely full. We have 3 weeks of camp. We have our first week, which is our mini camp. So the morning is divided up K through 2nd, and then the afternoon is 3rd through 5th. And that's the first week.
Right.
Then our second week is our drama camp week, which is grades, so I gotta remember this, 6 through 12.
Okay.
And then our musical camp, which is the third week in June, is it's grades 5th through 12th. So there's great ways, and also with that we do have, for those kids who do not necessarily have the desire to be on stage, we have a tech camp that goes along with musical camp. So you can learn about lights and sound and different things like that.
Well, I think that's a really important thing to mention here, is that the Stage 1 Youth Theater also has kids working sound, and they're working in the tech in the background. And when you say line, that probably is a kid giving another kid a line.
Exactly, yeah. They do just about anything an adult does here. Stage 1 is really trying to teach these kids there's a lot more than just being on stage, because for some that's not their comfort zone, but there's a lot of ways to be involved. So if you ever have any desire at all, there's something here we can find for you to do.
Well, let's talk about how to do that. How does someone learn or contact you as far as getting involved in a production? What's the best way to do that?
The easiest thing, I personally use social media a lot.
Yeah.
Facebook, Stage 1 does have a Facebook. I put everything on that Facebook. Auditions, information about events, different things that go on with Stage 1 aside from our normal shows. Also our website, gorct.org. Our Stage 1 has a section on our page that you can find information there. You can go online too, and online you can get my email address. Email me if you have any specific questions. Stop by. I'm here all the time. So
the home away from home, right?
Yeah, actually my real home is more the home away from home. This has kind of become...
That's right. Okay. This is the home.
Yeah. I spend more time here than there, so.
Well, and I would imagine that working with kids sort of keeps you young too.
Yes. Sometimes, and sometimes it makes you feel really old when they're all talking about what they were doing when you were graduating.
Right. This is my 12th. Yeah, this is my 12th year in Richmond Civic.
I know. They get so excited. Like, I'm 16. I'm like, oh, good. That's nice.
Ryan Shaw, thanks for being a part of the program. And Stage 1 Youth Theater, it's an excellent part of Richmond Civic Theater.
Come down and join us. So.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Welcome back to Access to the Arts. This is our first program, and we're at Richmond Civic Theater, and we're getting ready for the 2017-2018 season. It opens up with Fiddler on the Roof, and that's why we're sort of up in the background. We can't really get roof access, but this is about as close as it's going to get. So Fiddler on the Roof, it opens up on August the 4th. Anyone that wants to tell us, when did rehearsals start for this? It's a massive show. When did rehearsals start?
It's a long time.
They started later than usual.
Okay, really?
Most musicals take at least 3 months, and this one's was about 10 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
10 weeks. So the show is opening up on August the 4th. It is the kickoff to the show. How important is that for the season for people to come out and really pack the theater?
Really important.
Yeah.
That might have been a loaded question.
Yeah.
Okay. How many people are in the cast? Lots and lots?
About 30.
Yeah, about 30?
Yeah.
40, yeah.
Okay, so let me ask, just from a show of hands, or maybe from a number, who has spent the most time on stage? You guys might not win this one, but how many productions and shows have each of you been in?
I've been doing it for 12 years.
All right. Yes?
You beat me. I started when I was in high school.
High school?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Been in 8 shows here.
8 shows already? How old are you?
10.
10? Oh my goodness, that's a lot of theater. So what is, for someone that might not have been on stage before, what is a really important part about the theater that maybe people sitting in the seats don't know?
I've actually haven't been on stage yet, so it's nerve-wracking kind of looking up there, like up here and down there, and seeing like almost like about 100 of people,
sure,
like just staring at you when you're on stage, ready to say your line or do a dance or sing, and it's your heart just pounds, and when you do it right, you just get this sense of awesomeness, pretty much.
I like that. That should be a season. Okay, go ahead. What's something that maybe the theater we don't know as fans of the theater for being on stage?
If you're on stage, always make sure to acknowledge the balcony too, because they always get left out because they're always looking at the floor.
Sure.
Don't normally look and smile at the balcony.
What advice would you give some of us that are coming to watch Fiddler on the Roof?
Well, when you're on stage, you always need to project and be in the scene.
Okay.
Like, even if you're a small part, you still need to be like in the scene, moving around and not act like I'm not. Yeah, like 100%. You need to be in the scene.
Okay, very important, Liz. What would you say? What's one thing that we may not realize? How much rehearsal goes into it, and memorizing lines and choreography? How important is that?
We spent a lot of time learning the music, learning the songs, and then we also spent extra time learning the dances, and then some of us have lines. So it's not just in the rehearsal from 6:30 to 8:30 or 9. It's also we have to do our homework.
Yeah, right, and that's on top of actual homework, right? I mean, goodness gracious. Tim, you said you've been in a lot of theater productions since high school. What do you like most about the Murray Theater?
What I like most about Richmond Civic Theater? Yeah, I get to meet some great people. You know, that's what keeps me coming back. It's, you know, we're all like a family here, and so.
Yeah,
that's what I like.
And Kira, you've been a part of a lot of theater productions, right?
Probably 5, I think.
Okay, great. And how was your experience? How would you describe it for the fans? It's important to come out and be an active participant of live theater, right? As you're an audience member.
Right. We're blessed here in Richmond to have this quality of a community theater, and we do have great patrons. We have people that come, you know, to every show, that kind of thing, and really good people that way. For me, it's the community. We just build a community. So the first time we get together for the new show, you're seeing old friends, and you know, and then you're meeting new people, and people might not recognize, but like you might come and practice 1/2 hour, really, of a 2.5 hour practice, and you're sitting out there, you're on the sidelines or whatever, but you've got to be here because you know you're part of the cast or whatever. Sure. But it gives you this downtime to get to know people that you wouldn't know otherwise.
Absolutely.
I want to put a plug in for our wonderful orchestra too.
Okay, sure.
Some really talented musicians.
Absolutely. We didn't have, they're all rehearsing now maybe, and so we don't have them for the interview, but that's, and again, all of this is volunteer, right? I mean, raise your hand if you've gotten paid to work at the theater. Anybody? Okay, all right, no, me either, by the way.
Applause is
right.
pay.
Applause is the pay, that's right, yeah, sure. That's exactly right. So the show opens on August the 4th. What is something nice down on the far end? What's something neat that fans will like of the theater about this particular show? If they've never seen Fiddler on the Roof, and I think we all are familiar somewhat with the music, but what's a unique thing that the cast is going to, or the audience will see with this cast?
Richmond's a small town. Yeah.
Okay.
And the village of Anatevka is smaller, but it's about small town life. True, that's early 20th century Russia, and this is early 21st century America, but there's a lot of similarities. I think they'll get that.
One of the things I was always curious about, and this is really open for anybody, do you catch yourself singing the music at night, at home? I mean, you just start catching these earworms, right? Don't they just get into your mind?
Yeah. Some of that's good, and some of that is really tough.
Okay, that's
really
good.
Tough.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And one of the things that we'd like to say about the show is that tickets are available. You can go to their website, gorct.org. You can also call 962-1816. Go after the big group tickets, buy a lot of tickets, and do it often, and come to every single show at Main Stage, because it's a really great, it's a really wonderful part of our community. It's a community treasure. Just like all of you, thank you for being a part of our show today, and break a leg.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What a great experience getting to see the historic Murray Theater. We learned about its history, we learned about Stage 1 Youth Theater, we learned about this upcoming season, as well as talking to some members of the cast about the opening season show, Fiddler on the Roof. Here's where the payoff happens. We need you to come to the box office. We need you to buy a ticket. Buy a season membership. Go rct.org. You can also call for ticket information at 962-1816. And by all means, share the video. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.